Welcome, Dennis Brunssen here with the Mr. Brunssen Show. This is a series about my life as a musician. Started back in Sioux City. I was born at the Methodist Hospital, and great set of parents. My mother and father very supportive of my musical career. I have had one brother, he passed away, one sister, my oldest sister passed away, and I have three other sisters. We had a great family. We loved living in Sioux City. It's a working class town, and didn't seem to be much problems like there are today. Living around in Sioux City was very peaceful. There were a few things here and there, but other than that, it was great. At the age of 3, I had shown some interest in playing drums, and I actually somehow got to play in the Salvation Army Band when I was 3 years old. Around when I was 4, I was going to have my first gig, per se, live on KTIV Channel 4. And so I remember it was a Sunday, we went over there, it was going to be a live performance, and we're all lined up getting ready to play, and the kid next to me with the tambourine fell flat on his face, passed out, and so my first gig actually got canceled. But we kept plugging away, So spent most of my grade school over on the west side, and I think it was around 4th grade is when I started playing trumpet in the orchestra. 4th, 5th, 6th grade. I did play some baseball in the summer. That was great. I loved playing baseball, but my main thing was music, obviously. Around the summer of when I was in 6th grade, my dad goes, "Let's go for a ride, you and I. We're going to go out to the west side of Sioux City." I said, "Okay." I love driving around. I don't know why. No air conditioning in the summer. I guess you get used to it. It's hot, humid. Went for a ride out West 4th to towards the Forest View area. Nice green areas out towards west, right before the bridge used to be there, head down on the riverside. And he pulls up to the driveway of his house. "You see that house?" I said, "Yeah, it's not done. What's going on here?" He says, "Well, I'm going to surprise your mother. We're going to move in on her wedding anniversary to that house." And my dad was so excited, and we moved into that house out on West 4th Street. Great place, big yard. To me, the driveway was too long because I always had to shovel the snow out of it when it was rough, but other than that, we loved it. The neighborhood itself was fantastic also. I don't know if you've ever been out to West 4th, or Sioux City in Forest View, Elmdale area. Very nice place. A lot of kids in the area. One day when I was walking around, I think it was in 8th grade. It was in the summertime. And, back then you could go anywhere in Sioux City. I used to ride my bike out to Morningside and all the way out and come back. Sometimes I ride it down Interstate 29. Looking back, that was kind of foolish, but I did it. Nobody bothered me. I did many times coming down West 4th Street. As long as I was back by dinner time, my parents, my mom go, "Be careful out there." Well, we were careful, and we always made it back. Things aren't like that today, obviously. So, going back, I was like walk around the neighborhood down there. There was a community pool that some of the neighbors had funded and put together. And across the street, there was a band. They called it a combo band back then. And I was sitting listening. I'm like, "Well, what's going on?" I finally found out the band members are actually classmates of mine. And one of them was Merle Pithan and Joe Pithan. And one day Merle goes, "Man, I don't think our bass player's going to make it." He called me up. I said, he goes, "Dan, you like music?" I said, "Of course I do. I'm playing trumpet in the high school marching band. Okay, even though I'm in junior high. Well, you think you could get a bass guitar and an amp? I said, I don't know, Merle. Well, I went home, begged my mom and dad. They said, you think you can do it? Okay, this is a big deal. You got to be committed. I said, yes. They got me a bass guitar and amp. And so I walked down after school one day with the bass guitar and amp down the hill to Merle's, to the Pinheads. And Merle opens the door and he looks surprised. What? Everybody called me Brunssen back then. Brunssen, what's going on, man? He said, Merle, I told you I was going to get a guitar and a bass guitar and an amp. He said, well, you don't know how to play. I said, no, we're going to figure it out. But the most important thing is I'm going to be here for rehearsals, and I'm committed, and I'm going to learn this thing, and we're going to get it together. Well, after only 2 weeks of having that bass guitar, we played our first gig. Now, these were not very, intricate songs. I mean, we're like Louie, Louie, A, D, E, Hang On Sloopy, easy stuff. But we did play. And we had a gig in Aurelia, Iowa at the City Hall. And it was fantastic. I mean, we actually got paid and made money. We had played for the door. I remember driving out with Mr. and Mrs. Pittan. They helped us put the stuff in the car. It was Merle, Joe Pittan, Randy Martin, and Mark Martin, their brothers. And so we loaded up everything in the cars for the first several years and put our equipment in. And, most every weekend we would go out and play some gigs. Mostly it was actually concerts, one-nighters. And we had, believe it or not, done a few bars down on Lower 4th Street. And at the time, it doesn't look like it does today. It was kind of a weird-looking place down there. But we loved it. Like I said, we did a lot of traveling to high schools, proms, homecomings, and stuff like that. So it's about, let's see, first we were the Bellboys, then we were the Boys, then we were the Fabulous Boys. When we were the Fabulous Boys, I can remember Randy and Mark's cousin, Gary Nichols. Okay, he just loved the band. Gary goes, I'm going to buy you guys a van so you can put your equipment in. You don't have to put it in the cars anymore. So he bought a black van, and he painted on the windows the Fabulous Boys. And Gary, I don't know how he worked on this after he worked the day gig, and then at night he got the van ready. And we used that van for, I think, a year. And then everybody comes up with the idea, well, we need a bus. We had a bus because at that point we'd actually hired a horn section. Chicago, came out on the national scene about then, and we just loved the horns. So now we got to have a horn section, and we need something bigger. So we got a bus. And Gary Nichols again, he took all the seats out of the bus, put carpet in it, put a bar inside, and we were rocking and rolling at that point. And on the weekends now, we're venturing out farther. We're not going to Aurelia, Iowa. We're going up into Minnesota, South Dakota, Nebraska. Venture down to Kansas, a few times down to Oklahoma. And we're getting our name out there. At that point, when we added the horns, we changed our name to the Board of Directors Band. And we had real nice three-piece suits. And at one point, we had two drummers. Billy Engel, Carl McGuire. The only problem with having two drummers, let me tell you. They call each other up and they go, hey, Billy, you going to rehearsal? This is Carl. Well, yeah, okay, well, I'm going to stay home tonight. And then Billy calls up Carl. Carl, you can never get the both guys to practice at the same time. So that didn't last too long, okay? We love both you guys, okay? But something happened back then, and the dual drummer thing didn't work out, but it sounded great when we were gigging. So we ended up with having eight people. Dan Harrison, fabulous guitar player, was with the rubber band. Danny Kane on drums. Mike Donovan, trumpet. Joel Orthman, Perfect Pitch, wrote everything out, chartered it. God bless him, Bob Martin, Barney Martin, Merle Pithan, Randy Martin, myself. And I mean, we were like brothers. We together all the time. If we weren't playing, we were doing something together. You know, it was just, we were together. We were united. We were on a mission. So now we're, you know, we used to play at a club, I'm going back a little bit here, to the area of the boys, but this little place I'm talking about, the Woodmen of the World Club in Riverside, man, we used to pack them in there. We'd rent the hall out for like $50, and we'd play for the door. I don't know why I brought that up. I think I'd forgot about it, actually. But we did a lot of hall rentals, and we do some advertising. I go put up posters around town. That's why I take my bike and I go out to Morningside, or, you know, we rented out some halls, and but mostly of our stuff was one-nighters. Coming up on senior year, we were doing more traveling, and we went down to Kansas, and we actually got noticed by the biggest booking agency in the Midwest at the time, John Brown, Mid-Continent Productions. John, well known for booking horn bands, and he invited us to the Red Dog Inn. We auditioned. He liked what he saw, what he heard, and he started getting us some dates that summer out of high school. And we did like, I don't know, one time 30, 40 dates in a row. We're out there, we got our bus. We're on like our third or fourth bus at this point. And the summer of '71, I mean, we were really hitting it hard. I got our name on KOMA radio out of Oklahoma City. Anybody knows that name? That, you know, to hear your band advertisement on that station, that was quite a big deal. So we're playing around, and we got a gig in Kansas City. This is after Randy left the band, Randy Martin. And this is our really first multi-night nightclub gig. And it was a two-story club. Dick Dale, the famous surfer and guitar player, is upstairs, and we're downstairs. After the first week, the manager goes, "Hey, you guys are switching. Dick's down on the bottom. You're going on the top floor." Dick Dale got really upset with us because the top band was supposed to be up on the top. So that's something I remember about playing our first nightclub gig. After that, the next week, after a month actually, and then took a week break, and then we went up to Montreal, Canada. Took a bus. We had a new bus, large bus at this point, converted, all beds in there, and a car. And on the way up there, I was in the car, but on the way up there, the guys in Plattsburgh, New York, during a blizzard, a car pulled out in front of me, had cardboard in its driver's side window, didn't see the bus come, and smashed into the side of the car and totaled the bus out. So they rented a Ryder truck and brought the equipment up to Montreal, and we started playing at a club called Boulevard de Paris, right on St. Catherine Street. One of the top clubs at the time. I think it was kind of a, I don't know what you call it. You know, it's guys walking around with black suits. We had to sit in a corner. We couldn't associate with anybody. It was a good paying gig. We were there for a month. We stayed at a hotel called Boulevard de Paris, about a mile or so away from the club. Our second week into the gig, our floor caught on fire at the hotel. So now we got a bus wreck. Now we got a hotel fire. So now it's about the end of March, and I think this was '72. We've been gone for a while, so we're gonna go back to Iowa. Got to rent a truck, and Merle and I and Bob Martin, we get in the truck. You know, get down the border. We got to take all the equipment out because they want to check, see what's inside, the border guys, and we load it back up. And the other guys, they took the car. They went over towards Toronto area and cut down. And so we headed across. We're like in Ohio at this point, and the water pump went out. We had to switch trucks, take all the stuff out of the truck, put in a new one. So we head out again that night, and we keep driving and driving and driving. We get over to, I think I was driving at that point. Merle's in the back laying down with equipment. And we get over to Davenport, Iowa, and I pull in the big truck stop. I'm tired. I said, man, Barney, that's Bob's, was Bob's nickname, God bless him. I said, you're going to have to drive. I'm tired, man. I said, okay. All right, well, I'm get some coffee. And so we get in the truck and we take off again. About a mile and a half down the road, I was laying down on the seat. I don't know what happened. We went in that ditch in the median. It was grass. And we're bouncing up and down. I don't have a seatbelt on. Barney don't have a seatbelt on. Merle's in the back with equipment. We rolled that truck 5.5 times and landed on its side. We flipped it forward on a somersault. We hit a culvert when we were trying to drive, and we just kept going. And luckily, none of us got hurt. We went to the hospital, but we didn't get hurt, luckily. So that was a point where, with the failures we all had in that month, we went back to Sioux City and just played a couple more gigs, and that was kind of like the end of it for us. So it was a long stretch, you know, for coming from the boys to the board of directors. And then, you know, actually at that point, John Brown had given us the name of the Young Raiders that summer. So we're not the original Young Raiders, but he gave us that name. So we kind of all took a break. I got a job at Woolco Department Store in Sioux City at Sunset Plaza. And actually, who got me the job was Merle Pittan. He was working in the sporting goods department. So we got two guys in the band. And one of the guys that worked over there at Woolco, he goes, why don't you guys play for the Christmas party? We don't play anymore, man. We kind of got burnt out on it in the wrecks and stuff like that. So we started. We played for, Merle and I and a couple other guys played for the Christmas party. And we started getting into the music thing again. Right at that point, Woolco transferred me down to Omaha, and I was manager down there for 3 years, I think. But I'd still played in nightclubs. I was living out towards the West Roads there, and I had a place, was real close to my gig, about a mile away. So a couple nights a week I wouldn't make it till 10 because I had to work till 10 at Woolco, but I was still playing. And you know, once a musician, we just kept going. So I did that, and then moved back to Sioux City and walked into Flood Music one time. Tom Kingsbury was in there. You know, he was the owner. You know, what's going on? I'm looking to get in a band. He goes, do you know Al Schrank? I say, Al Schrank, let me see. I think I know Al. He says, we got a band, Coakley. Talk to Al. So I did, and we went up to South Dakota, met the Coakley brothers, Dennis and Curtis up there, and I played with them. And then during my stint with Coakley, I produced the show at the Sioux City Auditorium. We were the opening act, and Merle's band, Lazy Day Band, which later became Bone Still, was the opening act. And a week after that gig, Merle calls me. He says, we've got a problem with bass player. He says, you want to play bass for a Lazy Day Band? I said, well, sure. You guys are fantastic, man. Plus, you got a steady gig down at the Bash on Lower 4th. Why wouldn't I want that gig? So I played with them for about a year and a half. That was fantastic. Mick Peterson. I played with a lot of good guitar players, but I'm putting Mick Peterson right up there in the top one or two. And, you know, unbelievable. Randy Peters, Don Peterson, Merle Pittan. What a great sound we had. After that gig, I wanted to go out. I was kind of getting burned out in Sioux City. So, after that situation, I went out to LA. And in my next video, I'm going to go into detail, deep diving into my start on the West Coast. But thanks for viewing this video here, and we'll see you guys tomorrow at the next one.